So the ganging is kicked off from a custom quote level. So when we start generating a custom quote, it's based on a new template. So we had to start somewhere with ganging, and what we've done is we've focused more on the wide and large format area. That's where most of our requests were coming from. So I've got a custom quote template I've made here called wide format gang options. And it looks a lot like a normal custom template, but with the addition of quantity and size box selector here. So beforehand, we couldn't gang multiple sizes onto the one sheet. If you were going to do that, you would do that by adding multiple sections to a job, which would then break everything out and start blowing out your costs for sheets and make readies and things like that. So what we've done is we've consolidated it into the one section, and we've brought in a new concept within a section of two different new section types. One's called a run section type, and the other is a part, which is basically the individual items. So I'll just start with a sheet-based option first. So all you do is you select your stock. You'll select your process front and back. You can select any additional finishing operations. So much like the existing gang module, if an operation itself is flagged as a ganging-based operation, that will be included in the gang's costing. And if an operation is not a gang-based operation, then it will be treated as an individual operation that will be worked on after the gang is finished and the sub-jobs are split out. So in this case, I've added a couple operations such as laminate and cutting, which I've flagged as gang-based operations, and taping, which is a non-gang-based operation. So you enter your standard requirements for the product, and then you can start entering your quantities and the individual sizes per item. From there, you can add a new item or duplicate an existing item. So if you have a lot of items to add, we can also do that via a CSV import-export. So I'm just going to import some information at the moment. So here we've got 3 different items, different quantities, different sizes. Being a custom template, you can also bake in your standard workflow operations. Once you've got everything in there, we've got this calculate gang option. So what this does is this sends out the information to a piece of software we've created that's going to calculate the imposition and send that information back into PrintIQ. So clicking the option is going to send through the details of the sheet size, the individual items, and send us back the layouts. So based on what we've got here, it's determined that we need to split this out into 2 different layouts. One requires a quantity of 5 sheets printed, and the other requires a quantity of 1 sheet printed. So from here, we can open up and see additional information. So we can see against run 1, what items and what quantities each item is imposed. And we can also open up images of the layouts. So this is what we've imposed at the moment for those 2 products. So we save and close that, and then we get price. And this is where you'll see how IQ is calculating and splitting out those runs versus the items. So first thing you'll see is the description here. So we've got that split out, so we can see run 1, run 2, then items 1, 2, and 3, and all the information related to them. As we scroll down again, you've got your pre-production operations at the top, and then we've got the costings for the runs. So we've got run 1 here, and you can see everything that's a gang-based operation will show here with its costings. And then as we get down to the items, you can still see all the finishing required against the items, but all the pricing is zeroed out except for anything that's a non-gang-based operation, because all the costings here are obviously included in the gang itself. So this works on sheet-based items. It also works on roles. I'll just do a quick example of a role-based quote. Okay, so in this example, we've got a roll, and what we can do is when we calculate the gang here, we can see that it's calculated out of our stock that's 165 feet long. We need to use 88.89 feet. So if we open up the layout here, we can see how that's been imposed. Now, there are a couple other options that we've included here for calculating the gang itself. So we've got an option here for straight cuts only. So what we're trying to do is line all the items up with as many straight cuts as we can, so you can see it separated all out. So you can try cut it with as many straight lines as possible if you're using a guillotine, for example. If you were doing something more like laser cutting, where you're not as fussed about having the straight cuts, what we can do is we can turn that off, calculate the gang, and then the algorithm's going to be slightly different. So here, because we're not so much worried about the straight cuts, we're using a little bit less stock here. So we're down to 83 feet. And if we open that layout up, you'll see that we've bunched everything up as much as we can. So there's a couple different algorithms that you can use. In addition to that, you can also override the maximum roll length. So without any override, it will just look at the length of the existing roll. But if you want to override that, or you're using variable quantity length rolls, you can override that just here. So that's at a quoting stage. What does it look like at production stage? So if you've used the ganging module before, you'll probably be familiar with this from gang at production stage. What we do is we flag the job itself in blue, indicating that it is a gang-based job. And because this one here is ganging at estimate, what we do is we show the main job number, and then there's a sub number at the bottom. So the 2 here represents the number of ganging positions that need to be printed. So if we open this up, we'll see that there's 2 gang print runs and the 3 individual items. The individual items will remain in blue until they are broken off from the gang, once that gang is marked as finished production. So the moment the gang's closed off, the child jobs are released, they go back into the standard color, and you can continue working on them. The job itself, if you go into the job details, it's the 1 job number with the gang information shown in here. And as you scroll down, we make it clear that there's 2 runs, and here's your run 1, run 2. The start and stop buttons for all the operations are against the gang. And as you come down to the items down here, you'll see the individual items, but the start and stop buttons for any gang-based operations are removed because they're controlled at the gang level. And once that's closed off, we open up the last items that need to be worked on post-gang.